The narrative begins in the year 1976. Taraji P. Henson's character, Bell Bottom, is a supervillain who is being chased by the anti-villain league as she runs across the city after stealing a map. Bell returns to her hiding location inside the Criminal Records record store after defeating the AVL agents. There, she meets the other members of her squad, the Vicious Six, including Wild Knuckles, as well as Stronghold, Danny Trejo, Nunchuck, Lucy Lawless, Svengeance, Dolph Lundgren, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, Alan Arkin. They analyze the map and learn that it pinpoints the location of a relic known as the Zodiac Stone. When used during the Chinese New Year, this item transforms its users into strong animals. The Vicious Six flew to a distant island in pursuit of the stone. Wild Knuckles enters the temple and discovers the Zodiac Stone, but he is assaulted by a swarm of little metal guardians as he does so. He fights them and then flees the temple, only to learn that more temple guards are chasing him. The remaining 5 of the 6 pull Knuckles up, but then they seize the stone from him and turn the tables on him, informing him that he is too old to lead the squad and that new blood is needed. They throw Knuckles into the sea and then fly away. Steve Carell's character, young Gru, is 11 years old and has always wanted to be a supervillain. As a result, the other kids regard him as an oddball and shun his company. Kevin, Bob, and Stuart arrive to get him up, all Pierre Coffin, along with the rest of the minions. They return to Gru's house, where he discovers something that was given to him in the mail. It's a telegram from Bell Bottom, since Gru applied to join the Vicious Six because he's their biggest fan and Knuckles is his favorite villain. The message's context is that Knuckles is Gru's favorite villain, or was. Gru receives an offer from Bell to attend an audition at the Criminal Records store. Gru is overjoyed, believing that his moment as a supervillain has finally come. He is only shown living with his unsupportive mother Marlena, played by Julie Andrews, and the rest of the minions he has hired as henchmen. He is only seen living with them. Gru informs the minions of the happy news, and they excitedly rally around their mini-master, despite Gru's distaste with the title. It has been revealed that Wild Knuckles is still alive and well, living in his mansion with 3 of his own men, John DiMaggio, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Jimmy O. Yang. He still hasn't recovered from being thrown off his own squad by the Vicious Six, and now he's heard that they're seeking for a new member to join them. This has left him resentful. The next day, Gru arrives to Criminal Records and meets a younger version of Dr. Nefario, portrayed by Russell Brand and depicted as an ambitious mad scientist. He shows Gru one of his most recent inventions, a gun that launches a sticky green hand that can grip. Nefario delivers it to Gru before leading him down the secret path that leads to the Vicious Six's lair. While he eventually meets them, they dismiss him as a child since Jean-Claude expected him to be a little man when they were reading his application. As they go, another applicant enters and attempts to wow everyone with his pilot gear, but his jetpack malfunctions, forcing him to soar crazily through the air. The Vicious Six attempt to stop him, diverting their attention just as Gru uncovers the Zodiac Stone hidden behind them. He snatches the stone with the handgun that Nefario handed him, but the 6 of them track him down and begin to hunt him down. Gru tracks down the other minions and offers the stone to one of them, Otto. Gru flees on his horse, pursued by the 6 soldiers. He disables Stronghold and Nun defenses. Chucks and when Bell and Svengeance catch a hold of Gru's bike, he fires the rocket to get them out as fast as possible. Knuckles, who was present the entire time, now follows Gru around in his truck after witnessing all that occurred. When Gru and the other minions arrive home, they wait for Otto to return from work. When he does, he presents Gru with a rock with googly eyes attached as a gift. Otto goes on to say that he went through a succession of bad occurrences until he ended himself at a birthday celebration, where he swapped the stone for the pet rock that was being given away to the birthday boy. Gru is furious as a result of Otto's error, and he instantly dismisses all of the minion employees. He goes out on his own to get the stone, but as he walks along the street, Knuckles' thugs apprehend him and force him into their van, as Kevin observes from outside the vehicle's window. He then informs the other minion workers that their tiny master has been kidnapped. Gru is led to the location of Wild Knuckles. Knuckles is disappointed to learn that Gru does not have the stone, which makes Gru ecstatic at the prospect of seeing his idol. He phones Gru's house, hoping to persuade his mother to pay a ransom, but Kevin answers the phone instead. Knuckles warns him that he must carry the stone to San Francisco within the next 2 days or else he would be killed. Otto, Kevin, and Stuart visit the child to whom Otto gave the stone, and Bob joins them. The child adds that he gave it over to his uncle, RZA, who is already going away on a motorcycle. Otto and the other 3 minions pursue him on a tricycle while looking for a bus advertised to take them to San Francisco. They travel to the airport, where they disguise themselves as pilots and flight attendants in order to board the next aircraft. Kevin and Stuart attempt to fly, but they end up ruining everything by hitting all of the buttons and causing a slew of problems before successfully landing, sort of. Knuckles torments Gru by putting him in a device that looks like a record player and moves him closer and closer to whirling saws. He sends his minions out into the world, and those minions end up finding the minions. They try to capture them since they believe they have the stone, and as a result, they end themselves in Chinatown, where an acupuncturist named Master Chow, Michelle Yeoh, watches the goons beat up on the minions. Chow, despite her age and being a small old woman, exhibits exceptional kung fu skills and fights off the attackers. When the minions implore Chow to teach them her powers, she reminds them that she is no longer engaged in that area of employment. Nonetheless, she caves when the 3 of them give her the puppy look. Following the encounter, the henchmen decided to abandon Knuckles. He puts Gru to work around the home after rescuing him from the trap. Knuckles drowns while trying to clean his crocodile-infested pool. Knuckles is grateful to Gru for rescuing him and dragging him out of the pit where he was stuck. He brings Gru along for the burglary. They pose as a grandpa and grandson in order to steal the Bank of Evil. Knuckles pretends to have a heart attack so that Gru may take Mr. Perkins' house keys, Will Arnett. Gru's plan to steal the Mona Lisa is successful, much to Knuckles' pleasure. On his tricycle, Otto follows the biker across many states, but he is unable to keep up with him and soon loses sight of him. Otto is ultimately discovered by the biker, who picks him up, rides him to San Francisco on his motorbike, and hands him the stone. Chow teaches the Minion Gang various martial arts, but the Minion Gang frequently injures themselves rather than strengthening their skills. Despite Chow's claim that they have just completed basic training, they are able to swiftly enhance their skills. Unfortunately, the minions have already made their getaway and are on their way. The Vicious Six find Gru's house, take off the roof, and question Marlena and the other minions about Gru's whereabouts. One of the minions reveals to Gru that he was abducted by Knuckles. The party of 6 then proceeds to Knuckles' house, where they pull the roof off, meticulously search the premises, and come up empty-handed. When Knuckles and Gru return, they discover Gru's house destroyed. He is upset because he knows the 6 are the ones who did this to him, and he is frustrated that they would still want to hurt him after all of this time has gone. Despite Gru's objections, he informs him that he has been released and directs him to return home. A Chinese New Year procession is now taking place in downtown. Otto eventually creates a ruckus by charging towards the throng. Gru spots him on the tram and instantly begins after him. Otto shows Gru the stone, and Gru expresses his appreciation for Otto. Unfortunately, the Vicious Six have caught up with them and now have Gru in their captivity. Just as they are about to be besieged by the anti-villain league, Belle seizes the stone and utilizes its powers to change both herself and the crew into massive animal creatures. Stronghold becomes a bull, Nunchuck a snake, Svengeance a tiger, and Jean-Claude a gigantic monkey. Belle morphs into a fire-breathing dragon, with his lobster claw arm. They capture Gru and bind him to the hands of a clock tower, which will slowly shred him apart over time. At the same moment, Knuckles, Kevin, Stuart, and Bob arrive to come to Gru's aid. After being turned by Belle, the 3 are reborn as a rabbit, a chicken, and a ram. Despite a brave attempt by Knuckles, Belle is able to overcome him with her fire breath. The three people remember what Chow said and unleash their inner beasts, defeating the mutated form of Vicious Six. Otto sets Gru free, and he immediately runs out to save his friends. The six are swiftly dispatched by the three minions, and Gru seizes the stone, which he subsequently uses to change his opponents into rats. When the AVL came, they took them into custody. Knuckles sustains a wounded and is later arrested, nonetheless.